Hey, everybody, welcome back to another edition of the Fantasy Football Expo podcast series. We are coming down to the crunch time, less than 2 weeks away, probably by the time this is out. We are so excited for all of the people that we've been interviewing all summer long, actually all spring and summer long. We started this back in March, and we've tried to get all 50 of the exhibitors, sponsors in. And as I've mentioned many times before at the beginning of each of these shows, nothing excites me more and makes me smile more than the fact that we have almost over 60% of our exhibitors this year are brand new, not necessarily brand new companies. They may have been around for a while, but they're brand new to the expo, and we're excited to have them. They're excited to be here. And this is another one. Steve Kenway, Rolling Insights. Steve, welcome to the show. Thank you for being a part of the expo. Thank you for being a part of the show this evening. Just introduce yourself, just tell us about you personally, and then we'll kind of get on with the questioning and talk about you guys more from here.
Sounds good. Yeah. Thanks. First of all, thank you so much for having me. And like I was saying earlier, so pumped, really excited to go to the expo. Look forward to talking to a bunch of fantasy fans about our products, learn about the next trend. So we're really excited to be able to participate. Steve Kenway, I'm Canadian, which, we don't have a lot of kind of NFL football games in Canada, but, fans of the game down south, sure, and fans of our CFL game up north.
Gotcha.
So, traveling from Canada, my hockey days kind of started me in fantasy sports.
Okay.
Evolved into a love of the NFL as well.
So let's take that step back to when the beginning was, when you either got into fantasy, as you said, you may have started in fantasy hockey, but talk about your beginning into fantasy, and then also maybe the next step of getting into fantasy football in the NFL for us Americans and us North Americans, I guess I should say, and talk about how those transitions came to be for you, at what age, and who brought you into it.
Yeah, so, I don't know if this is actually a Canadian concept, but we used to have in the newspaper pools where you go in and you'd pick from boxes and you'd pick individual players, and you had a limited number of permutations, and then you cut it out, you'd put a check in an envelope, and then you would mail it into the newspaper, and there'd be some pool operator, and then each week you would go in and you would check the standings to see if your name was there. And it was that early exposure in the 90s that really got me going and kind of loving the concept of fantasy sports and picking my own team. From like my dad, he's always he used to buy the NFL football news, hockey news. We'd be together. He'd be leafing through the book, looking up player stats from last season, reading about teams, etc. So it's been a big part of my house since I was a kid. Sure. But it evolved to the point where we then started doing our own family pools, where we would have players printed off and we would go through and sit around the kitchen table, even to the point where I lived in the Middle East in Qatar for a while, that we were doing it in Qatar where you couldn't watch, in most cases, hockey. Like there was hockey on TV at the time.
Wow.
So that created the passion for kind of fantasy sports in general. Now hockey starts in October, ends in June, probably ended May at the time. And so you're kind of looking for something else to kind of field that. And obviously NFL starts to heat up in August. Just my dad being a huge fan, that was kind of the natural transition, is moving from hockey into NFL. I also love fantasy baseball. It's one of my favorites as well, just because there's so many data points that you can play on. And I don't play as much NBA. I understand the love for NBA, but for me, I just don't gravitate as much to NBA.
Gotcha. So all this love playing the stuff, I was just thinking about, because I did some of those newspaper mail. I'm like, you imagine if you told somebody, hey, we're going to give away this big amount of money, but to do it, you have to buy a newspaper, you have to cut out this square, check the boxes, fill in your address, put it in an envelope, put a stamp on it, and mail it in by the deadline every week. You wonder how many people, if there's $1 million on the line, how many people would still do it? Like, I'd be intrigued by that. Like, I wish I had more money than, I had Elon Musk or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
and I could just go, you know what? I want to try something. Let's do this and, do it through the USA Today newspaper because they own most of the newspapers in the country now anyway.
Yeah.
And say it's $1 million, but you got to do this for 17 or 18 weeks.
No.
Out, send it in by mail. And like you said, online will be the standing. I would love to be able to do that and see how many people would really stay committed to that.
I know.
Or would they be like, I forgot this week. I didn't get a paper. I don't want to go to the post. Like, because that's the way our world was for so long. And we didn't know anything else. And now with the instantaneous world of I need an app, I need it on my phone, I need to hit it now, I need to hit submit, I got to be in, I got to see live scores. And before, you had to wait and mail it in, because I played those games. I knew exactly what you're talking about. Get the paper, look for the standings, where's my name, where am I ranked? And that was like, we thought that was a great, kind of like when we first got our first Pong game, and our first Atari, and we're like, this is the greatest. I can't imagine they'll make anything better than this. Good stuff. I love it. Oh, it brings back so many memories.
You got to team up with the U.S. Postal Service to run that. I'm sure they.
Let alone getting it in the mail to the place on time, right? Yeah. Oh, sorry, your entry didn't make it. What do you mean didn't make it? I made it. Mailed it 3 days ago. Oh well, Yeah, I can't. Yeah, exactly. That'd be the other thing too. Anyway, where were we? We were talking about you. We started going down the historical rabbit hole. Let's talk about now this transition. You've done all that. You've gotten into fantasy football. Stuff is built and built and built, and all of a sudden, when did this idea first off, talk about what Rolling Insights is, and then how you guys came about creating this, why you created it, how it can help the various folks that you guys are out there helping. Talk a little bit about, or talk a lot about Rolling Insights and how it came about and what it can do for the folks that are coming to the expo, or folks just out there watching the video and may not make it to the expo, but they could still use your product.
Yeah. And it's a continuation of that story. One of the other things I've always loved, and I'm a computer science by academic training. So I love data, I love writing code. That's just naturally where I reside. And so one of the things that I absolutely loved is, as I went through that journey in fantasy sports, I loved the content creators that were publishing their insights, but including the data. Mm-hmm. So a shout out to back in the day, the Nation Network and Flames Nation. They used to do that in great detail. And they were inventing all these derivative statistics to help understand, in particular, hockey, Corsi and Fenwick and all these other PDO and all these other stats. And, as I went through my journey, I was continuing to maintain spreadsheets as part of my means of finding an edge to win my leagues. And a lot of the concepts were based on things that I was reading about from these content creators. And so it dawned upon me at some point that I'm like, okay, so if I'm a content creator, I've got a blog post that I'm producing, I've got a podcast, I've probably got a YouTube channel, and I'm also producing all this data. I'm doing it in spreadsheets. The guys or girls who are winning these leagues are in most cases using spreadsheets or watching every single game or investing a lot of time. There's got to be some connection between the two. And the content creators need to get credit for that data production, because right now they get shares on the videos, they get shares on and they get attribution. You can follow them, but they get no attribution on the data. If they produce a data artifact and I copy it and put it in a spreadsheet, and then I use that going forward and update and build upon it, they get no credit. Half the time I don't even remember who I got that original idea from. And so the idea behind it was, I want to give them, the content creators, a platform where they can give me, the user, the data that they're using, and that I can use that and easily apply it to managing my fantasy teams. So that's our product SportWise. That's the kind of original orientation of it, et cetera. And it's still early in its beginning. One of the other things that we do, I'll mention that a little bit on the side, I think has kind of less to do with the expo is through that process, we needed to acquire data. So we went to a lot of the data companies that were out there. They were either expensive or we didn't hear back from them. Or there was one reason or another that we as a startup didn't necessarily get the attention that we thought we needed or couldn't afford the data that they provided at that time. So we actually met a company, we acquired their assets, and we're now a data provider as well. So we kind of see, Rolling Insights as a company is democratizing the data from not only the consumers, but the startups to mid-sized businesses. And we also have the Breakaway Accelerator, which is helping those startups, et cetera, be successful as new entrants into our space and our industry. So I just wanted to give Data Feeds and Breakaway Accelerator a little bit of a shout out, even though really the story for the expo is SportWise, and being able to allow content creators to get data attribution, to give the data to the fans who then can go and use that, connect that with their leagues, pull their league data in, and expand the data that they're using to manage their team, even derivative data that they want to create, and have it automatically refresh and update instead of having to manage all these spreadsheets the way that I was doing it in the old days.
No, and obviously great stuff. Obviously, not obvious because most people don't know, I'm switching my data feed over to Rolling Insights for our consistency models within the Big Guy Fantasy Sports. So you'll be able to see that live and in action. And we assume nothing's going to change. You'll just see it better, but it'll be much better, much faster, much easier this year for everybody to use. So I'm one of their products or one of their customers at this point. So yeah, good stuff. So Stephen, we love this stuff. Everybody's going to love what you have to promote. And so talk about your coming to the expo. How did you hear about the expo? What is bringing you here to talk to the folks? How did you get kind of that introduction to the expo world?
Yeah. So, well, first off, Bob, we met at FSGA, and that was my first. Obviously, you're a charismatic guy, and I was convinced right away. So we were in, and we were really excited about it. We had heard from a few other startups that it was a great place to go and meet content creators, have conversations about what their needs are, and I always position it this way: like I'm a technologist, as I mentioned, write code. We've got a team behind me, building software to solve problems for content creators and fans. Mm-hmm. And we're really excited not only to go and share and show, but also to listen and understand what people are looking for. What are the big pain points that people have in fantasy sports today? Like one that always killed me is that when I'm playing in a league, let's say Yahoo, everyone's using the same list. Everyone's using the same stats. Everyone's using the same rankings. You don't know how it's calculated. And so that's one pain point that we heard, we went and solved ourselves. And so if there's other things that fans out there are experiencing, pain points, things they don't like, we're a technology company. We're here to solve those problems. We're here to have those conversations. So we're really, really excited to meet the fans, talk fans, help them out. Same on the content creator side.
Yeah, no, and I think everybody's really going to benefit. So folks, if you're watching out there, make sure you hit up Steve and Josh will be there, correct?
Josh will be there as well. Yeah.
So Josh couldn't make it tonight, but Josh is kind of the is he COO? I can't remember.
He's revenue, yeah. CRO, yeah.
CRO. So they'll both be there. So make sure you check them out, talk to them, visit them at their booth. Because I think if you're a content creator or a fan, like I said, just check out what they're doing, because I think you're going to be happy with where they're at, their price point. It makes it a little bit easier, especially for the smaller folks out there that as much as we love some of the bigger sports data, and I know they do a great job for the big boys, they can afford it. We can't. So definitely very reasonably priced and still getting the same quality, and they have programmers that can make your system work and maybe even tweak your system, make it run a little bit better like they're doing with mine at a very reasonable price. So make sure you check that all out. So Steve, talk about your booth. What do you guys got planned for engagement purposes when they come to the booth, other than, of course, learn about your great products that you have? Anything cool? You giving away anything? Got any fun promotional items. What do you guys got going on?
We got a couple of things. So first and foremost, we are going to run a promotion on SportWise annual subscriptions. So come by, drop by the booth, bring your credit card. We'll get you signed up, and we'll give you a deep discount for SportWise for the year. We're also running a jersey giveaway. It pained me being in Cleveland, but I thought we should pick someone from Ohio, so we picked Joe Burrow. So we're giving away a Joe Burrow.
Fine. I'm totally fine with Joe Burrow. Yeah. Even as Cleveland people love Joe Burrow. Now, a little bit of it because two of my daughters went to Ohio University, and he is actually from Athens, Ohio, which is where the college is. So we kind of adopted Joe Burrow just because he's kind of an OU. Didn't go to OU, but he comes from Athens, Ohio. So we love Joe Burrow. So I would love to wear that jersey. I'm going to try. Okay.
Excellent. Come visit the booth. Come say hi.
All right.
And we'll get you entered.
So before we go, do you have any questions for me as a first timer that you're like, oh, hey, I kind of been wanting to ask you this, and anything you want to? If you don't, that's fine. I kind of putting you on the spot. But is there anything that, as a first timer, you'd like to know about, as an exhibitor, as a fan, as a whatever attendee?
Yeah, I think the one thing, and Brett from Better Vision has added me to a bunch of the group chats, so I'm seeing the conversation of people getting organized and getting ready for the expo. But is there anything we should check out? Anything that's not, on the itinerary that we got to make sure we hit? And that, it's kind of like going to the zoo and seeing the giraffes. Which giraffe should we see?
All right. Well, so Canton, Ohio. So the reason we keep everybody so busy in Canton, Ohio for the weekend, because there's nothing else to do. So so from that perspective, no. But there's a lot of fun, a lot of downtown fun little homey bars that people love to walk in and take over. That's a blast. So if you're a late night person, you can hang out with Scott Fish and all the guys walking into these dinky bars in downtown Canton. And there's two people in there at midnight, and 45 people show up, and they all lose their shit. Hilarious. But if you're flying into Cleveland, which a lot of people are, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is an amazing place to visit. So if you can somehow get up there, let's say you're flying out 4:00 on Monday, get up there early, go visit the hall. You can spend all day there, but you can get through 3-4 hours. It's really an amazing place if you're into music at all. So that's definitely a thing I always tell people, that if you're either coming in early into Cleveland, like coming in Thursday, and you could take a few hours, and you got your own rent-a-car, drive over and check out the Rock Hall. That is definitely an amazing place. Like I said, in Canton, yes, not a lot to do. But that's why we keep everybody super busy during the expo weekend, so that you don't have to worry about that, because you got plenty to do. So obviously tour the Hall of Fame if you've never been there before. If you buy a ticket, it's about $15 off on the website. That is a given. If you haven't been to the Pro Football Hall of Fame before, definitely check that out. Buy the ticket, go through it, Saturday morning or even Monday. They open up 8 a.m. So again, if you want to do that before you jump in. So right. So, obviously that is the thing to do if you've never done it, but so many people have been here now 3-4 years in a row. Yeah. They've seen enough. They've seen the hall a number of times. Doesn't change a lot. It's not, not a big change from year to year, but definitely got to see at least once or twice to appreciate it. So that is obviously a thing to do, is come in town, check out the Pro Football Hall of Fame the first time. So Steve, before we go, just tell everybody where they can find your website, Twitters, all that kind of great stuff, social media, and then I'll take it out from there.
Yeah, we're rolling-insights.com. That's where you can find more information about data feeds, SportWise, the Breakaway Accelerator. Otherwise, on the socials, I'm rolling Kenway, so SKNWY, if you're looking for me on Twitter. And the rest of our corporate socials are available through the website, so come check us out there.
Perfect. All right. Well, Steve, we're really excited to meet you. I met you face to face before, so this will be again, but looking forward to it. And Josh. So for Steven from Rolling Insights, I'm Bob Lung. Don't forget to get your tickets. It's a couple weeks away, folks. Don't wait. thefantasyfootballexpo.com. Check it out. Come in town. Even if you don't get tickets ahead of time, show up in Canton, Ohio, August 9th through the 11th. buy tickets at the door, same price anyway. It doesn't matter. Just be there. Enjoy the weekend with us. Have a good time. Learn some more fantasy stuff. Learn about Rolling Insights. It'll be a good time. When I click this button, you'll see all the social medias for the expo. Everybody take care. God bless. We'll see you soon.